Hey everybody, it is early in the morning. Yep, 6:05 a.m. my time. Danger signs. I have no idea why I'm talking with an accent though. I was born in where I had accents. Well, since moving to Georgia, I've been told I have an accent. I guess I did. We are. And then we have to kind of test of that one. And then we get into other relationships with other people, whether it be family, friends that we meet, total strangers, things like that. And if we're not careful, we miss a lot of signs that are put in front of us that are actually protective measures. We're trying to learn how to survive in a pain stricken world. No, a pain stricken world. That's a pretty volatile environment to be in some areas more than others. And so the signs that you need to look for will be either on a very personal level or on a broad spectrum level. So as you interact with other social individuals, um, to know when to walk away from someone, um, when to agree with someone, or just to be able to listen and not get drawn into a drama. Um, Dramas are never good. Um, you don't want to put yourself in a position where this person is telling you that you need to do this and you need to do it because I know more than you. How many times have y'all heard that one? Probably a lot. I think we all have heard that a lot. Someone always knows more than you, right? And it's hey, it doesn't matter how old you are either. You can be up in your 60s like me, and still someone's going to tell you you're not doing that right. It's, you're doing it all wrong. You're supposed to do this in your life. You're a failure at this and this thing. Those kind of things are very destructive. When you realize that you are your own worst enemy and you take the word of someone else that they know what's good for you and you don't, red flag all over the place. Seriously. You have to live your life. They're not living your life for you. So let's talk about the dating game, okay? Because that's where a lot of this mess starts with. I don't know if you've heard the terminology dating game. I'm sure most of you have. The dating game is just that. It's two people going through the motions and learning about each other and asking questions. And what do? They always want to say just the right thing because they can't stand to be alone. Come on, you're never alone. That's the misconception. That's the lie. That's the lie that the painful world wants to tell you. They tell you you have to be with someone. You just have to. You're not a whole person if you're not. What it doesn't tell you is, but you should wait for the right one. Okay? So when you're waiting for the right one, you go through 15 bad ones. The wrong ones, right? You get hurt. You make mistakes. Sometimes you get more hurt than you want to be. And then you wonder, how did this happen? And then after a while, you forget exactly who you really are. It happens, even to the strongest of people or individuals who think they're strong. I could handle this, I could handle that when I was growing up. I could handle anything except your biggest weakness. That need to be attached to something or someone. Some people it's money, and other people it's just people in general. But the majority of it is not feeling whole unless you're in a physical relationship or a studious relationship, educational one, or artistic, any of that. You feel like you're not a good person if you're not a part of all of that. Well, I got news for you. You don't need to be a part of all that. What you need to do is keep an eye on you first and make sure you don't hurt you. Don't hurt yourself. Don't set yourself up. The signs that you want to look for is if you are around someone, the first thing, if you've already left a bad situation and you're just learning how to survive through that, and it's a process. It's not a quick and easy fix. It never is. Because you have to sort out what you did wrong, what you did right, were you at fault, were they at fault, and it's draining, totally draining. So if you're on a low and you have just come off of a survival mode, now you're getting thrown into another one because you're not watching the signs. Listen to the words that are spoken to you. Always make a mental note. A lot of people say you're supposed to forgive and forget. Well, when you forgive and forget and forget and forget and forget, you forget all the key points that could have kept you from being either physically, mentally, or otherwise hurt. You have all of your personal belongings gone because you fell into the dating game trap. I am no different than you. No different. And the funny thing about that is, I thought I was better than that, and we usually do. So, it's kind of a catch-22. You think you're doing right, and the other person lets you believe you're doing right in the beginning, but then the tables turn, and all of a sudden, they know more than you, and you don't know anything. And the young ladies that I have come across in the last couple of years, and literally last 2 years, can't see the signs because they're blinded. They're so low in their own self-esteem. That's another subject, by the way. You have to love yourself, and that's hard, especially if you have a low opinion of yourself because everybody's told you your whole life that, oh, you're too fat, you're too tall, you're too short, you don't have any talent, things like that. You start believing the lies, then that's where you become a victim of the survival problems. And you really need to very diligently listen to everything that's said. And that may sound a lot of work, but isn't a lot of work better than a lot of heartache or a lot of physical or mental pain? Let's look at it this way. Which scars heal? Physical ones. You can see the cut. You can see the blood as it dries up, turns into a scab, and eventually falls off. And if you don't mess with it, you won't have any scar. Mental scars never heal. Why do you think there's PTSD? That's another thing. I hear about PTSD as if it only affects military. Yeah, it affects them. It affects them really bad because they are thrown into a situation where they literally are surviving to live. They are fighting for their lives over there. And for anybody who says that's no big deal, that's what they're supposed to do, I beg to differ. You guys that say that kind of stupid stuff, you go over there and you do what they do. You go to a foreign country and fight for our freedoms and don't get any thanks for it and be called, all kinds of names because you shot a gun at someone to protect your own life. Come on, really? I just don't get it. But it's interesting how people interpret those things. That's very interesting. Wrong, but it's interesting in a really aggravating way for me. Anyway, my uncle served in Vietnam. Thank the good Lord he got to come home. So many young boys didn't. Nope, so many of them didn't. And now their families are trying to survive a loving family member not being here anymore. It may have been back in the late 60s when that occurred, but those families, they still have those scars. They're still trying to survive the pain. And they're doing pretty good at it, most of them. But then you have the ones that just can't move on. And my grandfather died. My grandmother was devastated because he didn't die at an old age. It was a botched up stomach operation that should have been, an in and out normal procedure kind of thing. But he didn't survive it. And consequently, The month that my grandfather passed away, my grandmother hardly ever survived the month of April and March. Actually, it starts in March and ended up in April. And then one day she decided that it was her time to be with him, and she pretty much planned her own leaving us. And that's what people do when they can't deal with survival mode and the work that it entails. Sometimes they give in, they give up. Doesn't make it right, and it hurts a lot of people in the process. So when you learn the skills of the signs to look for, think about those things. Think about the people that you're going to affect. It might be relatives you can't stand, but you don't know how they feel about you, really, unless you've asked them. So listen to everything and listen intently. Take mental notes. If you have to write them out, write them down. I write stuff down all the time. And then the other thing is you have to be very visual. Watch the body language of people when you are with them. You can tell if they're trying to pull a snow job on you. You can tell if they're just being nice or if they have an ulterior motive. You should be able to pick up on that. If you're watching all the signs, then you will know that it's not real. It's trying to throw you into getting into that survival mode again. You just got out of a survival mode, whatever it was. And now you're thrown into another situation where you're like, this is never going to end. It does, eventually. But the thing about those situations is it is actually tools for future sudden survival mode situations. I guess I need to come up with a different name for that. Because survival mode is what you end up doing. The situation is something else. You call it a volcanic occurrence. Nah, doesn't sound right. If you come up with something better, hey, please comment it and let me know because I get tired of using the same words. I'm trying to be creative here, okay? That's the whole point. Be creative and get the point across and help some people protect themselves. So, um, someone saying I don't have sound. Yeah, I did this live. I don't know why. But then it's more fun this way because I'm like real. I'm totally real, by the way. Um, if I really totally flub up in the beginning of a video, yeah, I'll cut it off. I'll edit it out. But for the most part, I am what you get. This old lady who just likes to talk, talk, talk to people and hopefully make a difference one day. And that's why I'll be writing the book titled the subtitle of this channel. Um, His promise is my survival, but I'm taking out the is on the book cover because it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit the graphics. And I don't know if you can see my three crosses back there. Yeah, right there. I painted that. That was a vision. It's Calvary, and that symbolizes the the beginning of an end for Jesus, but then a new day for all of us. That's quite a deep subject, and the paint on that painting has a very deep meaning, and I'll share it with you the next time. Because everybody asks me, like, what's with the red and the black and the white stripes on the front? And I tell them, and they go, ooh, that's a deep one. I go, yeah, I tend to be that way sometimes. But I'm not trying to be deep with you all. I'm trying to just be out there, honest, and to help. Um, it is very rewarding for me to be able to be open with total strangers and still you have your anonymity, you know? You have your anonymity, I can help, and nobody feels threatened, and everybody has a happy ending, right? Well, we hope so. That's what survival is. When you survive something, you have overcome something you didn't think you could, or you thought you could, but weren't sure, and you didn't know if you're going to have anybody help you through it. And then when you have someone to help you through it, then that's awesome. Nobody likes to deal with situations of that's what we'll do. Stressful situations, stressful relationships. Um, Now I'm coming with something there. I'm gonna get to it. Um, it is something that fills kind of like a void, um, for lack of better words. Um, it is something that just can't ignore. You can't ignore the fact that when you watch for the signs and you listen to what people say and you watch the body language, and then there's another aspect of this also. If you don't do any of that, you're blindsided. You end up in a pit of total despair, depression, whatever, and you have no clue how to get out. And you think you're not worthy to get out. You think that you're supposed to be there. I was there. I was led to believe that I was not any good unless I did everything that person said, because that was what I was supposed to do. I wasn't allowed to argue. I wasn't allowed to say my opinion. And I wasn't even allowed to disagree that what I said wasn't what I said. Is there's a process. There's a mind blowing brainwashing process that goes on when you are in the survival pit. If you don't figure out a way to climb out of the survival pit, if you don't touch a single human being while you're going through it, if you're totally sequestered or ostracized or kept apart from everything you know and love, you are in real danger. Don't go down that path, the path I went. I was lacking in self-esteem. I was lacking in love. I was I was just so overwhelmed by not having the things I thought I needed in order to be happy. With being your worst enemy, you don't always know what's actually going to make you happy. You have to search out deep down inside, examine yourself. The hardest thing you can do is examine who you really are. It was not fun for me, not fun at all. I didn't like myself. I didn't like things that I had done. I didn't like the things I was made to do. And the thing is, when you're starving for a relationship, when you're starving for care, love, what do? You do whatever you have to keep that person around, even if they're bad for you. Those are the signs you look for. You look for the control. You look for anything that you've never experienced before, even though it might be okay for some people. If it feels bad for you, get out. Whatever you got to do, get out of it. That's how you survive this painful world, by listening, learning, doing anything you can to get educated on other personalities that could damage you, whether it be physically, mentally, or otherwise. That is how you survive. And it's not easy. And it's a hard, sometimes long trip or journey. We'll use the word journey because it's more of a journey than a trip. Trip sounds like you're falling over yourself. So it's a journey because in a journey you come across hills and valleys, different kinds of weather, you know. And when you feel that bad about yourself, you really shouldn't be with someone else. You need to get to your peace, your inner peace first. Because if you're a mess, what kind of benefit are you going to be to someone else? And what kind of a healthy relationship is that going to be? That includes family. If you have a toxic relationship with your own family, you need to step back. Yep, way back. And when you do that, you self examine. You can also write stuff down when you're dealing with family, because family can be brutal. They can also be extremely loving and caring. And sometimes you're not ready to have that in your life. You're still dealing with that pain that you just got into, and they're trying to tell you how to get out. And you're like, I don't want to hear it. I got to deal with this myself. That's ego. But it's all a part of, everybody has a certain level of ego, some more than others. And a lot of them just don't want to hear it because it makes them feel like they're stupid or that they are inadequate in some way. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'm not worthy. I'm inadequate. I'm not good for anybody. But you know what? I've said those words too. Yes, 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 yes. I confess I have said those very same words. And more than once. Because usually when you start saying them, you start believing them, and so you say them a lot. Because then you go into the self pity party. Let's not do that. Pity parties are never fun, and they never end out good. Matter of fact, you end up getting more trouble. You don't want to get in more trouble. You want to find that inner peace where someone is always going to understand, love, cherish, and really fulfill the needs that you have, not your wants. There's a difference. Need is clothing, food, roof over your head, being able to pay your bills, things like that. Those are needs because if you don't take care of those, you don't have the house, you don't have the car, and you don't have any place to sleep except on the street. You don't want to do that. Make wise choices. Listen to those who are trying to give you counsel. And you'll be able to tell if you're reading body language, words that are all being said to you, you will be able to discern if it is truly good wisdom, and you can always do one thing. And I don't know what I did with it. See, this is live impromptu, and I'm looking for something I had in my last video, and I buried it, so apparently. Oh my gosh. I've been doing a little bit of a crafty stuff there. That's fun. Thinking out of my people. This is I call creative chaos in this room. Yeah, sewing machines are still. So I still do sewing, and it's a release. If doing something creative helps you survive what you're going through, oh, by all means, do the craft. Whether it's sketching, making, what do they call those things? Uh, polyresin little critters, um, costume jewelry with beads. You know, look at the clearance stuff. Just random people. Just put them on some note. This is it's elastic thread, elastic string. String them on there any order you want. Put a little knot in it. Give it to someone as a gift, and then you feel good. You gave someone as a gift, and you made it, and they're like, "That was so sweet," and that builds you up when you can't do anything, or at least you think you can't. Do something that makes no sense. How many people go and grab a bunch of beads and make jewelry just because? Besides me, well, I like doing it anyway. But find a segue out of the hole that you feel you are in. And sometimes you've put yourself there because, remember, your worst enemy is you. You can argue with me all day long. I'm right. I know I'm my worst enemy. I know that if I do something, a certain something, I'm going to get mad at myself. Then I'm going to get in a funky mood, and then I'm going to take it out on something. It could be throwing boxes down the basement steps. I did that recently, by the way. Yeah, I'm a human. Wasn't a good thing. Scared our house guests, but I was so balled up. I lost my survival mode. I forgot all the things I teach myself and have taught myself and have done. Breathe. If anything, you get to that point, breathe. It actually works. Mr. Miyagi was right. The essential to life is breathing. He was not wrong. We miss you, Pat Morita. I love that guy. And it's funny, they used his culture as a way of getting through to tense moments. What are those movies all about? Tense moments, confrontation, conflict. And that's what we're trying to survive in this life. So, if anything, wax on, wax off. Do like Mr. Miyagi. You never know, something goofy like that could actually help you through something. I'm just throwing out ideas, but I would love to hear your ideas. I can ramble on all day long and tell you, what works for me or what has worked for people I know, but what works for you? Share it. There's other folks out there who want to know how to deal with situations in their life. And when you're in the throes of it, you're like right in there, you don't think straight. Trust me, you can't. You're so stuck on what someone is doing to you, going to do to you. You think they're going to do it. They haven't done it yet, but you think they're gonna. God, how many times have I heard that one? I have a younger son. I have two boys and a girl. And the younger one, he gets into those kind of funky moods. And I have to keep reminding him, will you stop looking for trouble where it isn't? So don't look for it, but look for it. You understand what I'm saying? Don't look for it, because when you're looking for it purposely, you're going to find it. But do look for it so that if it's there, you recognize it and you know how to deal with it, and you know to walk away if you need to walk away, or you know what not to say or what to say. Now, when you get into the pit, that's a whole nother story. That takes a lot of inner strength and strength and faith that God will get you through it, and believing He's going to get you through it. That is the toughest one of all. To believe that some being you can't see actually has that kind of power. I know it does. I was looking for my Bible, by the way. I must have taken it in the other room because I carry it around the house anyway. Pick up verses every so often and just kind of like mull it over. That's what they talk about. Meditating on the Word. When you're meditating on God's Word, you're absorbing it like a sponge. You're taking it in, and you think about what you just read, and then you're going to read it again. And the best way to read it is out loud, because then when it hits your ears, it's a whole different experience. So, and read the Bible out loud every chance you get. Or, excuse me, read Romans. I love Ephesians, by the way. It's a short book, but it's got a lot of wonderful survival tactics in it. You know, be this way with the people, be this way with someone else. There's no harm in turning to something you might have a total 100% faith in. Or you might like, well, maybe there is I don't know. Oh, well, the book was just written by men. Whatever your opinion is, it's not going to hurt to pick a book up. Just read it. And I'll tell you for a fact that I can read something and you can read the exact same sentences and it will speak to you differently than me. That's why they call it the living word. So I got on that subject for the main reason of why I'm doing what I'm doing. To help people, they have to understand there's something there that will get you in that survival mode and have you succeed in that survival mode and succeed in a way you would just not believe. I'm going to give you a little piece of some information that I've touched on. I went through a really bad situation. And but I was the one that allowed it to happen. Why? Because number one, like I've said before, I'm my own worst enemy. I was starving for attention, starving for love, and I had someone who came into my world that gave me that attention that I wasn't getting. That was kind of exciting at times and kind of scary at times, but the exciting stuff outweighed the other. And so I fell. I fell hard into that stupid dating trap. I was old enough to know better, but I didn't know better. And I didn't know better because I didn't look for the signs. That's the last thing I want any woman to deal with, or even any guy. I'm sure this happens to guys. is to fall into a serial abusive relationship and not realize that's what it is. It's very destructive. You lose yourself. You lose all identity. It's because it's a form of brainwashing. And I thought I was a stronger person than that. We all do. That's why it's important that you keep positive people around you, people who have a level head on their shoulders and know that they know how to warn you if they see someone being that way with you and they care about you. Listen to them, please. Listen to the people who try to talk to you. Argue with them, go ahead. But listen, let it soak in. And that at some point, you're going to understand they really care and that it is in your best interest to listen. They're telling you what to watch for. There are all kinds of angels, guardian angels, all around you. People think guardian angels are just beings. They're not. They're human beings that have been put in your life to protect you, to show you the signs that I'm talking about, the danger signs. You have to listen. If you don't have open ears, you're going to get hurt and sometimes irreplaceably hurt. The situation that I allowed myself to get sucked into like a vacuum cleaner, it took over a year and a half before I wasn't afraid to go to sleep at night. That's not a good way to feel. And I know you all don't want to feel that way. Don't ever feel that way. Keep a level head. And if it's not your head this level, someone close to you who has a level head that will keep you on that survival path to where you're not going to get sucked in. I didn't have anyone. And the book that I am developing goes into great detail about those steps that survival has to be in play or you don't survive an abusive relationship. Mm, it weighs on my heart so heavy that there are individuals out there who prey on others just because they are not comfortable in their own skin. They are the worst of worst enemies of themselves, and you don't want to fall victim to that. It takes a very long time to recover. Survival is one thing. Being able to recover and survive at the same time is a double whammy, but it can be done. I am still alive. I am here and I'm talking to you and I'm telling you survival is not easy, it's tough, but you can do it. You can dig down deep, find it within your heart and soul, and you'll find you're a stronger person than you really thought you were. I learned a lot in this short 63 years of life, and I'm still learning. And now I'm learning how to help others in the best way I know how, just by talking. I can show you how to do some crafts, if you want, but you have to tell me. If you want me to show you how to do some beading, I can do that. This is a release, this is a relaxer, and that's what I do. And everybody needs a release and a relaxer. So if you're going through a valley, as we call, before you get to the mountaintop, pick something up. Get some new books, doodle. There's adult coloring books. Yeah, actually kind of cool. There's something that takes your mind to another place to where you can actually pick apart what you've been experiencing and see, excuse me, and see exactly what you're dealing with and how to deal with it. And then guess what? You become a survivor too. You survive valleys all through your life. They don't stop. Why don't they stop? The people can say, why don't these bad things stop? I said, because there's bad people that just haven't learned how to love, haven't learned what life's really about, don't care what life's about. They just want what they want, and they don't care where they step on. Sometimes it's you, and sometimes it's me that gets stepped on. But we're supposed to survive to help others and do as the good Lord says, love one another. Loving one another is literally loving one another. Loving one another is caring about one another to where you don't expect anything in return. You just want to show someone that you care. People have shown you how they care. Perfect strangers, I'm sure, some of them. They don't have to be personal with you, and you don't have to be personal with anybody else. All you have to do is show that you care. Show that you have a moral center, and you know what's right and what's wrong, and you're not going to get sucked into the bad. That's the best gift you can give anybody, and that's what I'm trying to give to y'all. So when you are in that dark place, be attentive, listen, watch, body language, anything. Because when you stop looking and you stop listening and you stop watching and you just like do your own thing, because, oh, I just want to go over here, somebody can sneak up on you. And then the next thing you know, you're like, how do I get out of this? How do I get away from this person? Don't go there. You know, police officers have to be very, very attentive, and they are blasted for it. I have a relative who was on the police force, retired after 23 years. And I don't know what he saw, but I do know one thing. It made an impact on him personally. He didn't take it out on anybody. He learned how to literally kind of have eyes in the back of his head. Because when you wear a uniform, someone's out to get you. That's the military also, police, firemen even. And it's not right. They are our protectors as best they can. I mean, the police react. They go to, take care of a situation, but they can't be there in the moment. And if you're in a moment where you are being threatened, you have to take matters into your own hands, protect yourself. You can always depend on yourself, even though you're your own worst enemy sometimes. But when push comes to shove, if you don't protect yourself, you've got no one to blame but you. I have no one to blame but me. I could have walked away many times from that very volatile situation, and I couldn't break free because I didn't have anyone that I could rely on to go to except the Lord above. And when I realized that was my only saving grace, I picked up the phone and I started calling people out of state family. And I have a father who loves his daughter because my father drove over 800 some miles and rescued his daughter. And that was me. And that was my father. And that's why having my dad around, even as an absentee dad, because my parents got divorced when I was young, the thought and the actual knowledge that that love existed, even over 800 miles away, he was the one to save me out of the hell I was in. He didn't want to see anything happen to his daughter, and he was willing to drive all the way there. And he was in his 70s when this happened, and he's now 82. I love you, Dad. You were one of my guardian angels during that time. And of all the stressful survival modes I've been through, where I was mad at my dad, love my dad, love my dad, hate my dad, love it. You go through a roller coaster. Everybody does, because you can't understand why they're not around you anymore. That's another one of those things we have to survive. Absentee parents. That's hard because you want to be connected, and when they don't want to connect with you, there's nothing you can do. Don't beat yourself up about it. I've been beating myself up for half of my lifetime, and you know what? You can't change them. They are who they are, and there's not a darn thing you can do about it. All you can do is tell them you love them, and just wait and see if they say it back. If they don't say it back, at least you said it first. You see, that's when you're not your worst enemy. When you are your best friend and you do the right thing to the people that it should be done to, then you're a saint. You're showing an unconditional love that they may not deserve. And you know what? You know you're doing the right thing. I thought I was doing the right thing with someone who didn't have a single iota of that same care for me. And that's why I couldn't make sense of it. And I'll tell you again, my grandmother was a profound individual. Listen to your grandmothers, okay? They know stuff. I'm a grandma now, so I must know stuff. So I'm going to share what I know. I know for a fact that whenever you have a very bad situation come your way, if you wait long enough and you keep strong and you hold on and you use your survival tactics for yourself first, at the end of the day, when that whole valley turns back up into that beautiful hillside of life, and you think and you remember what you saw, what you heard, the body language of people that caused you to be in that ugly place, you'll actually find out the purpose of it. Something good. Always. Always results from something bad. That's the balance in our universe, in our lives, in our spiritual life, in our faith. If you look at something bad as there's a bigger plan here, there's something great going to come, and I can't wait to see it, then you have just survived the worst moment ever. Is that doubt that there is something better at the end. It's not a rainbow with a pot of gold, by the way. It's a new beginning. Survival brings on new beginnings, and you're going to love it. So, I'm a survival woman, and I'm sharing survival and what helps me get through. I want to hear what helps you get through. Give other people who are watching an opportunity to hear your voice, but not in a confrontational way. Just state it. Just state it. Be yourself. I'm being myself. I don't know if people like me or not. You know what? Doesn't matter. I'm doing what I think might help. Nothing at all. I pray that it does. And I pray for everyone. I pray for this country all the time. There's too much anger going on right now. There needs to be more love in the world. And there needs to be more people just giving because they can. And with that said, give me your comments. Share my videos. Subscribe. If anything that I say touches anyone in any way, I want to hear from you because then it makes it more that I am doing what the Lord wants me to do, that I am actually making a difference in helping people get through really, really bad things. I've been through some major stuff, and I am not bashful, and I will share. If you want to know specifically how I survived not being here anymore, I'll tell you how. But I want someone to be interested enough to ask. That's all. I made a promise that I was going to write this book that I was told I needed to write, but I also made a promise that if I ever came across any other, basically mostly females, this is it, it was about that I would witness to them my story and give them the tools to be able to survive like me and not fall as hard as I did. There's a lot more that you don't know and wouldn't believe when you look at this mug, this little short Irish lady. She been through some stuff, a lot of things I have been through, and nobody believes me when I tell them. Nobody believes me when I say, yeah, my ex-husband tried to kill me 3 times. But he did. And if I had done one of the things that he told me to do, I wouldn't be here. He was a person who couldn't figure out how to survive. I want you guys to survive. I want you to live. I want you to live your life to the fullest. I want you to for you to enjoy life. Life is awesome. When you find your niche, when you find out your gifts and you run with it, you're not only bringing joy to others, you're bringing joy to yourself. And that's such a fulfilling way to feel. Find joy in life. Survive all the ugly stuff. And then you can share with others how they can survive. And that way, we are loving each other. We're loving one another like Christ loves the church. His church is all of us. Let's just love one another. Let's just take care of one another. You don't have to give someone money. Like someone needs a blanket, you got an extra blanket, just give them a blanket. You know, it doesn't take much to show that you care. There's too many situations I see on the news. It's so disgusting. Why are we beating each other up? What purpose does that serve? Ego boost? Well, an ego boost doesn't get you through life. It doesn't make you survive. It actually makes you actually go down. We're supposed to have an abundant life. The Bible says so. If we follow in his way, we will have an abundant life. Be that abundant person that passes on. Pass. Why they do pay it forward? Because it promotes well-being. It promotes blessing. It, guardian angels come out through the woodworks with this stuff. And if you don't have any belief at all, just do something good because there's so much bad going on right now. Make a difference. I hear so many things on the news and on different uh, YouTube videos and things about how making a difference. They want someone else to do it. They don't want to do it. They don't want to they don't want to step out in faith and do it. I'm stepping out in faith with you all. You know what? And I like it. I like the fact that I can be this confident to try to help any of you, all of you, hopefully. One person would be worth it. Showing someone how to survive all the bad stuff that comes in their path, that is what I am trying to do. I don't want anyone, not one single soul, to suffer one iota of what I allow me to suffer. But I have a Lord above who sent a woman, Miss Karen, your guardian angel, I don't care what anybody says, who showed me the strength. And she stuck by me until she made me get out because I had no one else. I had no family. And she was a stranger. I worked with her for 1 month. Her sole purpose on this earth, when I went through what I went through, was to save me. Actually, she showed me how to save myself. And I found out the signs after the fact. I want to give you the signs to show you before it gets to where I was. I had just about this close decided to stop living, to stop my own clock, but I didn't do it. And you're going to laugh. The one being that I couldn't leave behind by taking my own life was my cat. I know, go ahead, laugh. Yeah, I know, it's funny. A fur ball, a Maine Coon cat. But that animal was the other angel. He sat by me and he made sure that I took care of him. I had something to live for. Everybody has something to live for. It's not a cat. It could be your plant. It could be anything. It could be a gift that you have that you haven't used in a very long time. The Lord says, if you have a gift, use it. Caring about people is one of my gifts. I've cared for so many different people. I've worked in a nursing home. What a rewarding job that is. And one of the things that I want to do is to donate lap quilts to the elderly in nursing homes. That's a goal of mine. I have a bunch of equipment that I just put an investment in. You do something for others and you forget about your issues or your perceived issues, and you actually are doing something for somebody else. You know what really happens? all that bad stuff that's weighing your brain down and your heart and your soul, it literally disappears. It takes time, but it will disappear the more you get into it. The more you focus on positive, get all those negative people out of your life. Don't be around them because what they want to do is they want you to be as unhappy as they are. That's another sign. Negative people, wipe them off. No, don't even have lunch with them. Seriously, because it might start out on a positive note because they're hungry, and then all of a sudden they're telling you about all their problems and how they can't stand it. Get away from it. What will steal your joy, what will make your survival difficult, is negative. It is one of the first signs that if you're, let's say you go into the dating game, and about every other time that you're with this person, there's something negative to be said. You're not meant to be with them. They're just using you as a sounding board. They're, you know, you're their indirect punching bag. And sometimes you end up being the physical punching bag. It's no fun. Been there, done that. You wouldn't know what to look at me, would you? Yeah, I've been through some stuff. Verbal, mental, physical abuse, drugs, all that. Mm-hmm. And I never thought I was ever going to be in a world, my world, where that existed with me. But the same person who was abusive is the one that introduced me to that stuff. And I used the Lord as my scapegoat sometimes, and that's not a good thing either. And we all kind of try to blame him. It's not him. We are our own worst enemy. To survive, you have to stay focused. You have to watch the signs. There's more signs to come. I just gave you a few today. Be attentive. Be observant. Keep your eyes and ears open and watch what comes out of here. That's another sign. The things that people say can have a double meaning. Be very careful. Protect yourself, people, because I care about you, even though I don't know who you are. I haven't got any comments. I don't know. I don't know who's watching, who's not watching. I want to be effective. I want to be helpful because that's my nature. That's one of my gifts, I'm told. And if that's one of my gifts, I have to use it. I don't want to stop caring. And I don't think I could possibly. I'm the oldest of five, and I've always cared about everybody my whole life. I care about you guys. And I know that sounds crazy from some lady you don't even know, but there are people like me that truly do have a heart for everybody. We just don't always have an opportunity to share that heart with you. This is awesome. This venue, this kind of thing, I get to share that I have a heart and that my heart is for people. You are human beings, and I don't care what anybody says. There's too many cold-hearted folks out there. I pray for those cold-hearted folks. There's a prayer that I have it's called for the stone heart. A person with a stone heart is so tied down, they don't know how to survive their life. They don't know how to survive situations. So they need someone to care. Wouldn't it be great if everybody just cared about one more person other than their immediate, little cocoon? Wouldn't that be awesome? Can't we do that? I know we can. It's just sometimes it's hard. It's hard to care. But let's just care. If I can do it, anybody can do it, okay? It's a lot of work. But what a reward. Let's all survive it together. Let's all help one another to survive this world of pain. That's my subtitle. How to survive in a world of pain. Our country is in a world of pain. Can't we put a band-aid on it? Can't we help it heal? We can. We all have the ability to fix what's broken. We just have to want to, and we have to love this world we're in. And we only got one. We only get one world. One day it'll be gone. Let's make the best of it. Let's take care of each other. Stop with the greedy stuff. Stop with the wealth envy. Stop with the whole. Don't get me started. There's so much going on that's so negative. Get rid of the negative, and the world will be a better place. Stop talking about the negative. Stop being a naysayer. Uplift those you come in contact with. Give people some kind of positive reinforcement and hope. When you start sharing love in just a, hey, you have a nice day, to random strangers, watch. Watch their face when you say, it's beautiful weather, isn't it? And they're like, what are you talking to me for? You do it enough, people start believing that other people care. And that's what we need. Everybody needs to care about anybody, one person. Care about a one stranger. Take someone under your wing. Mentor to someone. Just because you think they might. Perfect example. I have students that come to my home and I see the fire in their eyes that they're all excited and I get excited. And that means I can share with them all kinds of positive energy that they're not getting otherwise. I don't know if I told you, but Mr. Jordan, he has a special place in my heart because he wanted to stop. He wanted to not survive anymore. But the good Lord kept him here. And the good Lord kept him here because he has a big plan for that young man. That young man is going to make his mark in this world. And I am blessed in the fact that I get to watch it. If he wants me to be a part of it one day. I hope I can be around long enough. It broke my heart to know that he wanted to cash in his own chips. He's not even my kid. But I care. Find joy. Share it. And watch the love grow. I love you guys. You have a great evening. Well, now it's going to be a day because now it's almost summer. Take care. God bless.